One question that comes up a lot for people is whether or not to take insurance as a private practice owner or being in private practice. And there are a lot of pros and cons on both sides of this particular issue. One of the things about taking insurance is that it is more complicated. There are more strings to pull, so to speak, or things that you need to think about in accepting insurance. It's a lot of work on the front end and being able to get on different panels and being able to get credentialed. I think the other thing that might be a little bit of a myth about accepting insurance is that you're going to get paid less. And that really depends on which insurances you accept. But one of the things that I am seeing across the board is that insurance reimbursement rates, particularly for the CPT code, which is what you put on an insurance claim about which service you're offering, CPT code 90837 is the one that most people use, and it is for a 50-minute session with a client. I did a little research. The average reimbursement rate currently, here it is in March of 2026, and he's anywhere between $150 and $165 per session. Now it'd be lower than that. It could be that it'd be a little more than that, but that's an average across the board for the United States, both private insurance and also Medicare and Medicaid. So that if you take that as an average, that's not a bad reimbursement rate. Certainly you could charge a lot more as private pay, but the downside about being private pay, the good news with private pay is that you can charge whatever you want, but the downside is that it's harder to get clients. And so I think that's something you need to weigh for yourself. Accepting insurance does require more paperwork, more time in terms of filing claims, and also checking back if claims are denied, the follow up with that, also the credentialing process. But the good news is if you're accepting insurance, you've got a steady referral flow that comes in. My practice is an insurance-based practice, and we really spend little to no money on marketing. We have our website, but I don't run any Facebook ads. I don't do really any social media posts for my practice. I'm not doing any blogging or anything like that. One thing about it is my website has got a great name, and that it's Kingsport Counseling Associates, and I'm in Kingsport, Tennessee. So guess what? Anytime somebody searches for therapy services here in Kingsport, that comes up at the top of the page. So I was able to acquire that name early on in my practice, and it has paid off for me. Not to jump around too much, but one of the things about private pay insurance is that you do need to have a great website presence or a great internet presence or social media presence to get your name out there. Also, as I said in another video, having a specific niche helps a lot with that. But the difference between accepting private pay, doing private pay versus insurance, private pay is easier to maintain and set up. Not a lot of not a lot of bells and whistles you need there, not a lot of complicated claims to file or follow up with claims or accepting copays and different reimbursement rates. That's the pro side of it. The downside of it is that you're going to have to spend a lot more time marketing and advertising and developing referral bases. Insurance based, you get a set kind of rate. It might be a little on the lower end, although reimbursement rates have come up a lot from insurance companies. It does take a lot of more administrative time, but you're not having to put the time into marketing and advertising for your practice and getting those clients and referral sources in. So those are the things to think about between the pros and cons of accepting insurance versus being totally private pay. But here's the good news. One of the things that you can do is have a hybrid practice. So That's what I've got in my practice. I accept both private pay clients and insurance clients. And the key there is to the insurances that you accept. Number one is to find the insurance provider that is most popular in your area. For example, in my area, Blue Cross Blue Shield and Cigna are two of the main insurance providers for my area. So we are on those panels. The ones that we're not on are the ones that we see just here and there. And so those people do private pay. And so that's kind of a solution we found in my area. The other thing too is that you can offer a sliding scale fee, but here's a trick for you. If you offer a sliding scale fee, make sure your lowest rate on your sliding scale is equal to or maybe a little above your average reimbursement rate for insurance. Hypothetically, if your average reimbursement rate is, say, $100, you would want that to be your lower tier. And then you're going to be paid more for your higher tiers. And so you can go up from there. And also make it simple. I wouldn't have more than 3 or 4 different tiers within a sliding scale fee. And the thing is, though, is you've got to offer that to everyone that doesn't have insurance or you're not in network with. But if you're in network with an insurance company, you have to accept their reimbursement rate. So again, hopefully this is helpful information for you and some things to think about. Do leave your comments and send me your questions and take time to subscribe to us and give us a like on this particular video.